Minister, I welcome you as the Minister for Housing, Local Government and Community Development and the Minister for Essential Services, and invite you to introduce the officials accompanying you to make an opening statement regarding the Department of Housing, Local Government and Community Development.
Thank you, Mr Chair, and it's a pleasure to introduce officials from the Department of Housing, Local Government and Community Development who are appearing with me today at today's hearing. I have Ms Amelia Vellar, our Acting Chief Executive, Ms Michelle Walker, Acting Chief Executive Officer, Program Systems Improvement and Reform, Mr Brent Warren, Deputy Chief Executive, Corporate Strategic and Enabling Services, Ms Courtney Warr, Acting Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Delivery and Regional Priorities, and I also have Ms Tamara Biro, who's our Acting Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, I invite you to make an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr Chair and Chair and members of the committee. It gives me great pleasure to speak about my portfolio responsibilities as Minister for Housing, Local Government and Community Development. The Department provides essential services and programs to Territorians in urban, regional and remote communities, including homelands. And it's a privilege to get to know the hard-working staff in this department. With a budget of $856 million, which includes repairs and maintenance and capital grants, as well as infrastructure funding of $710 million in 25-26, which includes major and minor works. The department sustains communities across the Territory daily with a focus on supporting access and empowerment for Territorians. Having a house to live in is a fundamental building block. It provides shelter and supports improved health, education and employment outcomes. We are committed to fostering community voice and self-determination by strengthening regional and remote service delivery through local government reforms and a community development focus. Local control creates real opportunities for remote Territorians to have a more active role in community development and decision-making processes. It brings jobs and employment opportunities closer to where people live and is essential to rebuilding the economy and restoring our unique Territory lifestyle. Whether it's providing our 73 remote communities or 79 outstations with housing, water and sewerage services, delivering services to the 10,000 people living on 500 homelands, town camps and community living areas, or helping Territorians be heard and participate in the government system with interpreters and translators, the department's work is fundamental to so many Territorians. Our highlights in the department's program of work includes providing regulatory and funding support to 18 local governments, delivering the third tier of government services across the Territory. Helping Territorians be understood with interpreters and translators supporting people to speak in over 30 Aboriginal and 33 other languages. Providing a landlord service and directly managing and maintaining a growing portfolio of over 10,000 public housing dwellings across the Territory, accommodating nearly 32,000 Territorians. Providing affordable community and industry housing to non-government organisations. Our diverse housing portfolio not only supports those in need but also creates pathways for tenants to transition into the private sector and or eventually into home ownership. Enabling the delivery of core government services by providing government employee housing in 115 regional and remote locations across the Northern Territory, supporting the employment and retention of qualified and skilled staff. Partnering with the Australian Government to invest in new social housing across remote, regional and urban locations to reduce wait times, rental stress, overcrowding and to provide more Territorians in need with a home. Chair, access to safe, affordable and appropriate housing is essential to tenants' wellbeing and restoring our unique lifestyle for Territorians. Mr Chair, some of the key housing investments in 2025 include $147.9 million to manage the urban housing portfolio of 4,074 homes, with the community housing sector managing 21%. This includes supporting investment to deliver new homes, manage wait lists and allocations, providing tenancy, property management and repairs and maintenance. There is $1.23 million for the development of a site concept for affordable housing at Ozanam House, enabling community housing provider St Vincent de Paul to provide sub-market rental opportunities for income-eligible key workers. There's $11.5 million to progress Housing Australia Future Fund commitments. the joint $4 billion Northern Territory Government and Australian Government investment in remote housing, which will see up to 2,700 homes built over 10 years. $67 million to deliver housing and manage 1,397 government-owned and 451 privately head-leased tenancies, including repairs and maintenance for Northern Territory Government employees in regional and remote areas. We contribute funding of $40 million on average in 25-26 and 26-27 as part of the Australian Government's Homelands and Housing Infrastructure Program, known as the 𝙍𝙀𝙇𝙬𝙎, to deliver housing, municipal and essential services to 381 homelands and 18 non-leased town camps, and also for municipal services delivery in the 25 leased town camps and nine remote communities. When it comes to housing, public housing reform, I've spoken previously about the need to undertake key reforms in social housing space, in particular the need to better manage the impacts of antisocial behaviour affecting social housing tenants and their neighbours. This is about reinforcing the terms and conditions of tenancy leases, which requires our tenants to be good neighbours and to take care of the homes and communities they live in. In our year of action, certainty and security, I can assure the community that the Department is making public housing safer and tenants more accountable. It is reviewing available powers and policies to ensure they deal with antisocial behaviour in a more effective way. The Department is also working closely with the Northern Territory Police where criminal activity or crimes are taking place. This includes holding tenants accountable for their behaviour and their visitors, moving them out of the social housing system and into more suitable alternatives such as supported accommodation, including actively pursuing remedies for compensation orders and, if necessary, eviction through the Northern Territory Civil Administrative Tribunal. Our public housing safety officers will have greater powers to do their critical work of proactively patrolling social housing to prevent antisocial behaviour, responding to calls for assistance from tenants and the public, and taking action to deal with the situations they respond to. These frontline response officers do a fantastic job in dealing with troublemakers, attending social housing and taking action to hold tenants accountable, removing unwanted and misbehaving visitors, issuing notices to repeat offenders and coordinating with police and night patrol in the areas that they work. Our public housing safety officers recently underwent their annual refresher training and they are now equipped with upgraded body-worn cameras that are more robust and effective, ensuring that public housing safety officers can collect the best evidence available to substantiate any breach action. We are currently reviewing the suite of powers available to our public housing safety officers to take action when they attend an incident, along with reviewing and strengthening the red card policy to ensure that swift action is taken against repeat offenders. The other major area for reform in public housing is rent debt. Over 6,600 active tenancies across the public housing estate are in rental arrears by $41.5 million, with each household owing an average of more than $6,000. Rental arrears is money that should be used to maintain and expand our public housing portfolio. This budget will enable the Department to undertake work to ensure legislation and policies are enforced, with tenants being held accountable and provided with clearer understanding of their obligations. We are taking action against tenants that do not pay their rent, using NTCAT to ensure there are consequences, including obtaining compensation orders to recover unpaid rent and eviction for those tenants that do not re-engage. Tenants have opportunities through the debt management process to sign agreements to pay off their debts in affordable amounts prior to reaching the point of eviction. Since announcing the public housing reform on the 20th of March 2025, the Department has increased the number of agreements to pay, with households in rental arrears by 376 as of 31st of May 25. There has also been positive developments in the construction of new housing stock right across the Territory. Working in partnership with the Department of Logistics and Infrastructure, there are 216 new social housing dwellings under construction across remote communities in the Territory. Over the life of the Remote Housing Capital Works program, since 2017, a total of 1,132 new homes were built. A further 551 received upgrade extensions. Combined, that is 4,351 new bedrooms. A budget focus for an agency managing such a large asset portfolio of over 11,000 dwellings and bringing on so many newly built dwellings is appropriately accounting for depreciation of existing stock and asset write-offs for new stock, which includes items such as demolition, boundary fencing and driveway costs. We forecast a $76.6 million asset write-off and a $45.5 million depreciation expense in this financial year. Building new homes in remote communities isn't about the construction. It includes negotiating land tenure agreements and establishing leases with Aboriginal land trusts. As at the 31st of March, approximately 544 leases covering 5,810 remote land parcels were negotiated. That work doesn't include the next steps of land servicing infrastructures to support these new builds. For example, Mr Chair, in Maningrida, 85 of the planned 95 new home build homes are complete, bringing safe and modern homes to local families. Renovation and upgrade of existing homes under the Room to Breathe program is also well underway, with 55 out of 70 homes already improved. Recently, I was able to congratulate Edward Mason and Rosita Ankin and their family members who are now living in a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house that replaces their ageing 1970s home. Edward, who works as an interpreter, told me how happy the new house had made his family. In Haas Bluff, west of Alice Springs, 3 new homes were handed over to local families in March, part of a new build package that will ultimately see 10 new houses constructed in the community. This work is part of a $4 billion 10-year commitment jointly funded by the Australian and Northern Territory governments to deliver up to 2,700 new homes across remote communities, helping to create stronger, healthier futures for Aboriginal Territorians. The package includes $141.04 million funding for tenancy and support services, with regional and remote service providers contracted to employ local people and provide support and mentoring to tenants to help them maintain a successful tenancy. We're also building new homes in major centres, with construction underway on 5 new homes in Alice Springs, as part of a project to deliver up to 100 new social housing properties across the urban centres of Darwin, Alice Springs, Katherine and Tennant Creek. These new homes will provide safe, secure housing for low-income households, as well as create local jobs during construction, part of a $50 million partnership with the Australian Government via the Social Housing Accelerator Payment. In May, I inspected 12 newly built social and affordable houses in Tennant Creek. These homes are a critical part of Tennant Creek being able to accommodate the key workers it needs to function. These homes were constructed as part of the Barkly Regional Deal in partnership with Housing Australia and Venture Housing, part of an innovative $1.9 million joint funding initiative. Empowering communities includes ensuring Territorians have the option to live on their traditional homelands and outstations. And $39.2 million will be spent in 2025-26 on providing municipal and essential services to homelands residents. Recently, I had the opportunity to visit the Munkata community. It's about 80 kilometres south of Tennant Creek to see the upgraded homes in that community. These upgrades are a great example of what we can achieve when we all work together in partnership with the homelands and the land councils. Furthermore, as part of the $120 million 3-year partnership with the Australian Government, the Department is working with the members of the Remote Housing Joint Steering Committee to identify priority homelands for a significant housing upgrade program, with 100 dwellings scheduled for upgrade in the 25-26 financial year. A total of 365 homes were upgraded as of the 31st of March 2025. This work is delivered through grant funding packages, which are targeted towards local and regional Aboriginal controlled contractors, ensuring that employment and training opportunities are available for remote Territorians. In the local government sector, the Local Government Legislation Amendment Bill 2025 was passed in May to ensure the bill is contemporary, improves efficiency and transparency and strengthens effectiveness within the local government sector. The bill is the first tranche of local government legislation's reform, with tranche 2 now underway. 3 detailed discussion papers which tackle bigger issues, including the Code of Conduct for elected members, are out now for public consultation. Consultation sessions have already been held in Darwin, Alice Springs, Tennant Creek and Katherine, with sessions in Nullarbor and Groote Island coming up. Discussion papers can also be viewed online, and anyone can complete the online survey to provide feedback. We are also continuing to deliver on our commitment to empower bush communities in the Territory. The formation of the Groote Archipelago Regional Council was a proud and exciting time for local people. The new 3-ward council will be able to deliver fairer and more localised representation to residents. I know that restoring control of communities to Aboriginal people is fundamental to creating real opportunities for locals to have a more active role in community development and decision-making processes. To achieve this, a new community development framework is being created. The framework approach is designed to embed stronger local planning and ensure investment is better aligned to the unique priorities of each community. The implementation will be supported by regional community development staff on the ground who will play a key role in linking communities with government services, facilitating local governance arrangements and ensuring coordinated delivery across agencies. Mr Chair, the Central Australia Plan Community Infrastructure Package is continuing to fund Central Desert Regional Council and Macdonald Regional Council, guided by the Aboriginal Leadership Group. Priority infrastructure projects across the region. Tranche 1 delivered early wins, including completed playground upgrades in Titchera, and further works are underway in communities like Tea Tree, Laramba and Angawalla. Tranche 2 commits to 23 new projects, including cultural centres, splash pads, oval lighting, recreational halls and community laundries, continuing to deliver local infrastructure that meets community priorities and creates employment. I would like to acknowledge our Aboriginal Interpreter Service, which celebrated 25 years of service in April. An interpreter forum was also held in May in Tennant Creek and brought together Aboriginal interpreters from around the Territory for 2 days of training and professional development. Recognising the power of preserving and supporting local languages, the Australian Government has agreed to partner with us through the NT Remote Aboriginal Investment funding, providing $54.98 million over the next 6 years to support and grow the service. The AIS team provide professional and essential interpreting services for Territorians, ensuring that people who speak an Aboriginal language as their first language can communicate with government agencies to access government services. Aboriginal interpreters work directly with clients in hospitals, courts, and most recently with the NT Police Joint Emergency Services Communications Centre. Another exciting initiative is the Norforce Interpreter Employment Pathway Program with the Australian Defence Force. This program provides the opportunity for Norforce reservists to become trained interpreters. This creates additional employment opportunities with AIS outside of their Norforce duties. The AIS also support the Northern Territory Emergency Services during declared emergencies to ensure Aboriginal language speakers are properly informed of events and or evacuations. Mr Chair, in closing, I would like to highlight in our year of action, certainty and security, our approach to restoring control of communities to Aboriginal people and strengthening service delivery, empowering communities that want a greater say and enabling local government reform is measured and grounded in meaningful consultation. It is driven by what communities want and need and not a one-size-fits-all model. Mr Chair, I'm happy to take any questions regarding my portfolio.
Thank you, Minister. Are there any questions relating to the statement?
Yes.
Shadow Minister.
Thank you. Minister, with the machinery of government changes in your department either picking up, losing or creating new EC positions, can you provide how many EC positions were created in the change of government, were transitioned over or were lost?
Thank you, Member for 𝙍𝙀𝙑𝙬𝙎𝙎. We do have that information and just give us 2 seconds and we should be able to identify the numbers of positions in those areas. Thank you, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍. In regard to the staffing overview of the new department, what I can say is that at the EC level, we have at the EO1 level 4 positions. The ECO2 we have 6 positions. The ECO3 level we have 2 positions. The ECO4 we have 3 positions, and at the ECO6 level we have 1 position.
Thank you. And Minister, can you confirm when you came to government, the appointment of the CEO, was that advertised or was that a direct appointment?
Trying to recall when I came to government, when I was sworn in as a minister, the CEO was already in place.
So are you aware that was a direct appointment by the Chief Minister?
I'm not sure what the process was, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍.
Didn't ask any questions?
No.
No. Right. Okay. Minister, can you confirm of your staffing in the department, how many are Aboriginal?
Thank you, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍. The Aboriginal workforce in the department, including casual positions, as at the 31st of March, we have 183 Aboriginal employees. Total paid staff in the pay period was 604, but Aboriginal staff of the paid workforce make up 30% of the department.
And how many of those are permanent versus casual?
We're just getting a breakdown of casual and full-time, but I can give you an indication of the levels of our Aboriginal workforce, if that's any help while we're waiting for that information.
No, that's fine. I would like to actually know how many are casual and how many are full-time.
Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍, we might have to take that on notice, but what I can tell you is that...
That's sure. Through the chair, I'm happy to put that on notice.
Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍, please restate the question for the record.
Thank you. Minister, can you please provide the figures on how many staff in the agency that are Aboriginal are full-time and how many are casual?
Minister, do you accept the question?
Yes, we accept the question.
Question asked by the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍 of the minister has been allocated the number 7.6. Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍.
Thank you. Minister, just want to confirm, have any grants in local government been reprioritised since the Country Liberals came to government? Through the chair, I'm happy to put it on notice if there's some difficulty in finding that information.
Thank you, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍. Minister,
Thank you, Mr Chair. I'm sure we've got that information. We'll take that on notice.
Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍, please restate the question for the record.
Thank you. Minister, how many, if any, local government grants have been reprioritised since the CLP came to government?
Minister, do you accept the question?
Yes, we do.
The question asked by the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍 of the minister has been allocated the number 7.7. Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍.
Thank you. Minister, how many local government grants have been awarded to Palmerston City Council?
Zero.
Zero for the reporting period.
The information I have is that there's been 0 grants
So the government
during the
hasn't-
reporting period.
During the reporting period. Thank you. And Minister, wanting to find out where in the budget is there funding to assist with the work that your government has made around de-amalgamating councils?
Thank you, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍. I'll get the Deputy Chief Executive, Mr Brent Warren, to provide a bit of detail around the how the budget is structured this year.
Thanks, Minister. Thanks, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍. Brent Warren from the Department of Housing Local Government. I understand the question is what money in the budget has been specifically allocated for the purpose of de-amalgamation of councils. There is no specific budget line in this year's budget around de-amalgamation. We have our usual grant funding across a range of funding streams that will be, the allocation will be determined in the new financial year. Beyond that, we have a community development workforce that will be involved in doing community consultation, and we have a community development budget which is available for consultation and community development exercises.
So, Minister, through the chair, has there been or is there work being undertaken on the cost analysis of what it's going to cost Territorians to de-amalgamate, and where is the additional funding coming to enable that transition?
Thank you, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍, for that question. When you talk about de-amalgamate, let me make it very clear that coming into government, our policy is to work with communities to empower communities and restore real local decision making at a local level. That's our policy. We've only got to go back to the 1st of July 2008. Back then on the 1st of July 2008.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. This is about the reporting period, not before then.
This puts it in context.
It's irrelevant.
Thank you, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍. Minister, yeah, we will stick to reporting period. You can provide context as to what's led to your decision, Minister.
And it's what I would say to the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍's comments is that this is particularly relevant to the 1st of July 2008, and I'll tell you why it's relevant, because what we've seen over the last 17 years is the gradual disappearance of a number of services that have brought revenue into communities. So the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍 is interested to know where all the money is coming from to de-amalgamate local councils. What I've said is that This won't be a one-size-fits-all approach. This will be working with communities through a proper consultation and engagement process. We won't be forcing change on any community. I need to make that very clear, that this isn't about forcing change or de-amalgamating, as the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍𝙎 would like everyone to believe. This is about working with communities to empower communities, to restore local decision-making and restore service delivery so that we can create jobs and build leadership in communities. So it's particularly relevant the 1st of July 2008, because that's when the Labor government of the day scrapped every local government council in the Northern Territory and brought them under a shire process and brought councils in together. Now, what we've seen over the last 17 years is a loss of services and a loss of jobs. I'll give you some examples.
Point of order.
I'll give you
Through
some
the chair,
examples.
the Minister is misleading this committee. The CLP were, in fact, in government for 4 of those 17 years where they could have done something about it.
We thank you. Minister, every committee. The Minister didn't actually place blame on any party in that. He simply said it was 17 years. I think everyone knows that includes both Labor and CLP governments in that period. Minister.
So this is very important to the question that was raised, because when it comes to funding these proposals, what I've said is that there's a role in every community that wants to take on decision-making at a local level. Now, I'm happy to go back to 2012 to 2016, where the West Daly Regional Council was created, the Vic Daly Regional Council was created. So there's a couple of examples of some of those changes that were made. Perhaps the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍𝙎 has forgotten about that, but that's what happened between 2012 and 2016. I know it was some time ago, but that's what did happen. What we are doing is working with communities to restore and empower those communities. Now, what I've said is that over the last 17 years, those smaller councils that previously looked after sports and rec, CDEP, there was a program called CDEP, that was a federally funded program. Previously, other small communities used to deliver their own night patrol services. They delivered, looked after roads. They also looked after housing and delivered tenancy and property management services. Now, these were services that actually generated revenue for those communities. So what the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍𝙎 is suggesting is that we need all of this money to restore local decision-making in communities. What we need to be looking at is how do we restore services back in communities? Because on the 1st of July 2008, it wasn't just the councils that disappeared, Mr Chair, it was the leadership structure in every community. And this is very important because the leadership is the most important part of every community. That's what we're restoring as part of this process, is a leadership structure in those communities that want to be empowered to take on those services. Having that leadership structure in a community is extremely important, and every Bush member here knows that. Everyone knows that. So as part of that process, we are working through a community development model that will work with that community. If they want to be empowered to run their community as a small community government council, we will not only look at restoring that council, but look at what services can be returned to those communities. And if that involves a night patrol service, a roads contract to look after roads, being responsible for repairs and maintenance, tenancy services in those communities, delivering sports and rec, some of those services that were taken away over the last 17 years, that's what we're focused on, because what we want to see is people empowered in their communities. We want to see jobs back in communities, and if possible, through consultation with the federal government, we would like to see a properly structured CDP program back in communities that's actually going to create jobs for local people in local communities. That's our focus. When it comes to delivering on that, we'll be doing that in a structured way.
Oh, come on, relevance. What's that got to do with local government? Get back to the point.
There's a role for...
Minister. Minister.
I want a big novel. Look at you.
Okay. Minister, member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍𝙎, if you have an issue with it, please object through myself.
Through the chair, relevance. This was a question about de-amalgamating, not a rose-coloured glass history lesson from the member for Barkly, the Minister for Housing.
Okay, thank you, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍. Minister, I'll hand back to yourself if we could wrap it up in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, thank you.
It's very generous.
Let's make it 60 seconds.
Thank you.
Minister.
I was just querying, is the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍 still on that warning from the other day? Or
Nah,
is
it's expired.
a new one?
I will confirm he is not on a warning.
So
Yet.
So the red card system has expired, I suppose. So, but look, this is very important because having local control in local communities creates other opportunities around community safety, alcohol management, law and justice committees. There's a whole range of functions that a smaller community can undertake themselves. So when it comes to funding, we'll continue to work in a structured way through community consultation and engagement to deliver on our promise for Territorians.
Thank you.
Shadow Minister.
Thank you. Minister, you mentioned in your opening address around honouring the previous commitment by the Territory and Federal Labor governments for $1 billion housing program. When it comes to that, is the government on track to meet the 270 homes? What has actually been delivered in this reporting period?
We'll get that information for you.
Oh, it's all right. Yeah. Oh, no, I think this is manuals, but I've been drinking.
Yeah. So you could refer to that. Thank you, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍. The remote and this is more of a question for DLI, but
They said it was for you.
well, they're the ones that build houses. But what I can do is tell you that the program has delivered 161 new or replacement remote community homes, with a further 216 currently underway as at the 31st of March.
So, Minister, what will be the anticipated completion figure as of the closure of the reporting period?
Well, that's difficult to predict, but what we have committed under the 10-year agreement is 2,700 homes over 10 years. Given that we have delivered 161 already, with 216 under construction, as you know, being a remote member, there's a whole lot of factors that need to be taken into account when delivery of new homes is happening out bush. It could be weather conditions, road conditions. There's a whole lot of factors that may impact on the delivery of homes in remote areas. What I can say is that over 10 years, 2,700 homes, and we're working and on track to deliver those 270 over the first, up until
Right.
30th of June, I should say.
So, you signed an agreement to do 270 homes this year, and you've just said you're doing, I've got written here, 161. That leaves 109 homes that need to be built basically tomorrow to meet your agreed target of 270.
What I'm saying is that there's 216 new homes currently under construction. I don't have those numbers in front of me. How many of those will be completed? When we say 2,700 homes, that's under the life of the agreement. I've previously spoken about this in Parliament. You're aware, just from your previous role as a housing minister, that there are challenges in remote areas, and the completion of houses will always depend on those factors regarding employment opportunities and also the adverse weather conditions that we often see in some of those remote areas. So I don't have that specific information in front of me other than to confirm that there are 216 new homes currently underway as at the 31st of March.
So, again, Minister, for the reporting period, it's 109.
Sorry, the reporting
There's
period
161
has
to
delivered
date that's been delivered.
161 new or replacement homes have been delivered, and there's currently 216 as of the 31st of March that are currently under construction. That's the reporting period.
Okay, right. Thank you, Minister. And yes, very well aware. I delivered more remote housing in 1 year than any other minister. Thank you for that. So let's see if you can meet that challenge.
Member for Guyula, sorry, hang on. There will be, as I said, we're not going to reflect on past things. And Minister, please no clapping during proceedings. Member
Now,
for Guyula.
Minister, can you confirm how many evictions have taken place since you became the minister?
This one, I think, 7.1.4.
Happy to put that on notice if the minister can't answer today.
Thank you, Mr Chair. We haven't got those figures specifically in front of us, but we can take that on notice, and we should be able to get the answer to that question.
Thank you, Minister. Member for Guyula, please restate the question for the record.
Thank you. Minister, how many evictions have taken place since you became the minister? And can I add how many matters are before NTCAT?
Minister, do you accept the question?
Happy to take that question on notice.
The question asked by the member for Guyula of the minister has been allocated the number 7.8. Member for Guyula.
Thank you. Minister, are you able to provide us with a breakdown of what the current vacant houses are across the Northern Territory per region, and how long the longest one has been vacant for? Just to confirm, Minister, for your team, vacant as in how long it's been sitting empty waiting a new tenant, and vacant how long it's been a derelict or a vacant block in an urban centre?
That's the urban figure. Yeah, so I don't think we can break it down.
Thank you, member for Guyula. Vacant properties as at 31 March 2025, there were 119 vacant properties in the Greater Darwin area. As at 31st of March 2025, there were 11 vacant properties in Nhulunbuy. In Katherine, there were 40 vacant properties in Katherine.
What about the Barclay?
In Tennant Creek, as at the 31st of March, there were 11 vacant properties in Tennant Creek. In Alice Springs, there were 83 vacant properties as at the 31st of March.
Minister, you're also forgetting how many vacant properties are there across the bush?
We can get that information for you, Member for Guyula. So we have the information by region, Member for Guyula. A total as of the 31st of March, there were 283 homes that were vacant.
Across the Northern Territory in the bush, or is that, when you say region?
By region.
By region.
Remote.
Yeah, so 283 vacant homes in the bush.
That's right. So I can give you a breakdown if you want to.
No, that's fine. But what I do want, and what I did ask for, was what's the average vacancy time and what's the longest vacancy?
Member for Guyula, through the chair, we don't have a breakdown of that at the moment. We're happy to take that on notice.
Okay, thank you.
Member for Guyula, please restate the question for the record.
Minister, can you please provide the committee with the number or the vacancy rate for the regions, being Alice Springs, Tennant Creek, Katherine, Nhulunbuy, Darwin and Remote? What is the average vacancy time and what is the longest vacancy time?
Minister, do you accept the question?
Yes, happy to accept the question.
The question asked by the member for Guyula of the minister has been allocated the number 7.9. Shadow Minister.
Thank you. I might ask a similar question which the minister may take on notice. Minister, I have a constituent who has been waiting in excess of 8 weeks to have an air conditioner fixed. They've reported it multiple times to housing and have had no action yet. What's the average time for repairs and maintenance in a remote community versus the average time for repairs and maintenance in an urban setting? And I'm happy if you would like to give you examples, acknowledging that for different repairs and maintenance there may be different issues. So what's electrical, what's plumbing, and what's physical infrastructure?
Happy to take that question on notice.
Member for Guyula, please restate the question for the record.
Minister, could you please provide the committee with the repairs and maintenance timelines and timeframes on remote repairs and maintenance and urban repairs and maintenance? What is the average time to have electrical work completed, to have plumbing work completed, to have physical work completed, as in doors and locks and windows replaced? And what is the average waiting time for repairs and maintenance on air conditioning?
Minister, do you accept the question?
Yes.
The question asked by the member for Guyula of the minister has been allocated the number 7.10. Member for Nightcliff, did you have a follow-on question?
Just a follow-on question from that. Wondering if you could please tell me, Minister, what is the estimated value of the known maintenance backlog and how does this year's budget allocation address that?
Is that part of the on notice or is that?
I can add it on notice.
That's a standalone question at the moment, and it'll be the minister, if you can either answer it or we can put it on notice.
Happy to take that on notice.
Member for Nightcliff, please restate the question for the record.
Thank you. What is the estimated value of the known maintenance backlog and how does this year's budget allocation address it?
Minister, do you accept the question?
We do, but of course we don't. It'll be hard to estimate the cost of what's on the backlog without it being quoted. It's probably a reasonable question, but the question's actually asking for a cost of the backlog without us having those estimates or quotes in front of us. There may be a list, but there certainly wouldn't.
When we costed, okay.
Not everything would have been costed at this point. So, not sure, member for Nightcliff, whether you want to ask that differently, but it'd be, I think, just thinking it through, it'd be difficult to cost that up, given that we know that there's repairs and maintenance required to be done. We wouldn't necessarily have the cost of that at our fingertips, given that it would need, some of the work would need to be quoted.
Okay, maybe I can ask it this way. Is there a section in the budget that addresses the maintenance that is waiting, the maintenance jobs that are?
What I could say is that we do have a repairs and maintenance budget. I can give you the repairs and maintenance budget for 25, 26,
All right,
if that's what you're after.
I'll just have a look.
It's in there, yeah.
To save time, I'll have a look myself. Thank
So
you.
through the chair, following on from that question, in the last reporting period, when did the department expend its repairs and maintenance budget?
We'll see if we can get that information for you, Member for Guyula. But I do suspect there's probably not a lot of difference between what's been going on for the last few years when it comes.
Well, that's
to
irrelevant. We're after this reporting period.
Well, I think it's very important, thank
Gentlemen.
you. But we will get that information.
Minister, let's just get the info.
Thank you. Through the chair, thank you, Member for Guyula. I'll ask our Deputy Chief Executive, Mr. Brent Warren, to respond to that.
Thanks, Minister. Thanks, Member for Guyula. I understand that your question relates to the repairs and maintenance budget. In the reporting period to 31 March, the department had expended $19,196,000 on repairs and maintenance, against a budget of $16,835,000.
So they overspent by $4 million. So the question is, when did the department, through the chair to the minister, when did you reach or exhaust the budget of $16 million? What month?
Yeah, happy to take that on notice, Member for Guyula. We'll need to devote some resources to go back through time and identify that timing for you.
Yeah. Member for Guyula, please restate the question for the record.
Thank you. Minister, could you please provide the committee with the date that the Department of Local Government, Housing and Community Development expended its repairs and maintenance budget of $16 million?
Minister, do you accept the question?
Yes, we accept the question.
The question asked by the member for Guyula of the minister has been allocated the number 7.11.
Would you like any previous years with that?
No, that'll be fine, just that one. I just want to know how well you've done. I want to know, through the chair to the minister as well, there's lots of conversations in the community with homelands, and homeland service providers have told us that they've been given a 1-year extension. Can you talk us through why they've been given a 1-year extension? And a number of them have been told they are at risk. What does at risk mean? And what is the department doing to manage at risk?
Thank you. I'll ask Michelle Walker, the General Manager, to respond to that question. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle Walker. We've done a review of the remote housing contracts as it relates to homelands, and we are ensuring that the services are provided closer to those communities. some of the contractors are having performance issues, and so we're working with them to build their capacity. None of those contractors are losing their contracts at this time.
So just to be clear through the chair, none of the contractors are losing their contracts at this moment. They've been awarded a one-year extension where the department will work with them to either build capacity or find a different service provider.
That's correct.
Okay, I am mindful that I think the member for Mulka has a question on the homelands.
Thank you, Shadow Minister. Member for Mulka.
To Deputy Chair, while you're taking the seat up, to Minister, my name is Yingiya Guyula, and I'm the member for Mulka electorate. Thank you. Minister, is the government intended to meet priority one of the closing the gap agreement, partnership and shared decision making? So far, this has not felt like it is a priority for this government. My belief has always been that treaty is how we will close the gap, because through a treaty processes we are treated as equal, and this is what underpins our success and well-being. Given the CLP do not support the treaty, how will you achieve this priority, and when will we see and feel that we are part of the decision making for our communities?
Thank you, Member for Mulka, for that question about treaty. Look, I'm happy to talk about that. It's probably more of a question for Aboriginal affairs, but I certainly take on board the local decision-making aspect of that. But in regards to treaty, I just want to give some background about treaty, because it's an issue that's been spoken about for a number of years. Back in 2018, the then Chief Minister, Michael Gunner, announced that his government was willing to negotiate a treaty or treaties between the Territory Government and Aboriginal people. He signed an agreement to do so with the NT's 4 Aboriginal land councils, and on the 30th anniversary of former Prime Minister Bob Hawke's failed promise for a federal treaty back in 1988. In the Northern Territory, the inaugural Treaty Commissioner, Mick Dodson, was appointed to the role back in 2019, but later resigned following allegations of verbal abuse against a woman at a football match here in Darwin.
Point of order through the Speaker. The member for Mulka has asked an important question about treaty. Now he's getting a history lesson, which he already knows because he's been in Parliament for 8 years, from the member for Barkly. It's a direct question the member for Mulka has asked. Give the member for Mulka the respect and answer the question.
Okay. Thank you, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍𝙎. Minister, yes, if you could continue and getting to Member for Mulka's question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I was answering the question because
I'll get on with it.
This is important.
Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍𝙎, that is the last informal warning. After that, we'll be going to a formal warning.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
So, as I said, the one Treaty Commissioner was appointed in the role in 2019, but had to resign because of allegations of verbal abuse against a woman at a football match here in Darwin. The Treaty Commissioner position was vacant for over 6 months until the former government decided to bring in a Sydney-based barrister to take the reins in December 21 to carry through with that report. So much of the requirement that the NT Treaty Commissioner must have strong connections to the Northern Territory. If we go back to treaty, it's important to remember that in tabling the Acting Treaty Commissioner's final report in July 22, the former Minister for Treaty, who happens to be now the opposition leader, stated this: "Too often treaty initiatives have ended up languishing on a shelf collecting dust. That will not happen this time under my watch." That was said in
Point of
July
order, Mr. Speaker.
2022. So,
Okay, thank you, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙎𝙎. Leader of the Opposition. Minister, I've ruled multiple times that we won't go speaking about past parliaments and what has been said and not said. So if we can bring it back to the now. Thank you, Minister.
So the point of this is, Mr. Chair, is that in December 2022, the former Treaty Minister closed the Treaty Office, citing an inability to fund the Commission. So that was
Excuse me, through the
closed back
chair,
in
that's
December
incorrect
2022.
and that's misleading the committee.
So this is the
Okay, committee, as I've said multiple times, and Minister, if we can please move on from that. I cannot check. We can pause and go through the Hansard, but that is a long waste of everybody's time. So, Leader of the Opposition, please. Minister, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and so thanks again to the member for Mulga for raising this, because it is very important to put that on the record, the inability of the former government to progress treaty. But coming into government, Mr. Chair, what I do want to say is that our policy has always been about empowering communities with a practical pathway of self-determination via local government reform. We made that very clear leading up to the 2024 election, and made it very clear through our discussions out bush with many remote voters that our policy was not about treaty, it was about empowering bush communities through local government reform. So coming into government, winning 17 seats, we are progressing our policy of empowering remote communities. We want to restore control of communities to Aboriginal people. The Aboriginal people that live in those communities have been asking since 2008 for their self-determination and restoring decision-making at a local level. I've previously outlined the history where the former Labor government took away local decision-making at the community level on the 1st of July 2008. They took away the leadership structures in those communities. As I've previously said, we're not adopting a one-size-fits-all approach. What we are about is consulting, member for Mulga. We're all about consulting and engaging with remote communities to empower those communities to move forward with a model that works for those communities. This isn't a one-size-fits-all model, as I've previously said. We want to work with each individual community to determine the best structure for that community, what the leadership structure would look like in that community, because we know, as well as what the people are telling us, is that they want to see leadership positions back in their communities. So getting back to the original question, treaty was basically shelved by the former government. Our policy is to empower communities, and we'll be out and about working with communities to restore that power in the smaller communities. I've already given one example of the 𝙍𝙀𝙇𝙀𝙑 Archipelago. The 𝙍𝙀𝙇 Archipelago Regional Council has now been established. That's a breakaway council from the East Arnhem Regional Council. 3 wards have been established over on the 𝙍𝙀𝙇 Archipelago, and we'll continue to work with that council who have recently been elected, and those councillors were elected to represent the people on 𝙍𝙀. And that's an important step forward, because that's what the people over there have been asking for a number of years. And there's one thing that sticks in my mind very clearly. When I was over on 𝙍𝙀, there was one lady there which sat behind a number of people. and I think she was in her 70s, but she was able to quote to me how happy she was that we were bringing back the Regional Council for the Group Archipelago. In fact, she knew the date of the 1st of July.
Sorry, Minister, I'll just pause you there. Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍𝙎, that is the formal warning. I do say this, I really do not want to eject you from this room as you are the Shadow Minister. It's vital that you are here. So you are on a warning. It is up to you where it goes from here. Minister.
Thank you, Mr.
Can I
Chair.
Sorry, Chair, just a point of order. Are we just double check with the member for Mulca if this is answering your question? Otherwise, we're on a his massive portfolio has been given not enough time.
Thank you, Member for Nightcliff. Member for Mulca, are you satisfied with the answer?
Yeah, I'm listening to that, Tori, and what happened about the history of it and where we're going and what we're going to do. But my question was to see, we still want to. My question is, we still want to see our treaty stand alongside or step in.
So thank you, Mr. Sorry, Member for Mulca. So the short answer is that our government won't be pursuing treaty. We're elected to empower remote communities. Our policy is to start at the grassroots level, working with communities to bring back that self-determination in communities, to establish new leadership structures, to work with community on a place-based approach to ensure that that community has the capacity and capability to deliver services and make decisions through that structure in the best interests of their community.
To Chair, well, that is the question I raised, the treaty again. I was one of the people who actually stood for treaty on the platform of treaty, and we ran, and that's how I won, and our people in my electorate won. And this is then it's been thrown like football between parties, and no one's actually respected that treaty that people from the land, from the ground have called for. And now I am calling again on behalf of my people. We want to see what are these governments going to do with the treaty. And that's all we want to know. If you don't accept it, well, that's the answer you're giving us. So that's all I want to know.
Yeah, thank you, Member. And that's exactly what I'm saying is that we haven't supported treaty. What we have supported is empowering communities at the local level, so that there is a leadership group in every community to take control of the community, make decisions in the best interest of those community, but also to bring back those services that have gradually disappeared over the years, so that we can create local jobs on country to make the community more stable, build capacity and capability to engage with people in those areas.
Through the Chair.
Shadow Minister.
Thank you. Minister, were there any planned urban housing redevelopments cancelled or deferred during the reporting period?
Chair, while the staff look for some information, I can give a question, give an answer to a question on notice while we're waiting, if that's
Thank you, Minister.
okay
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
This is question number 7.6. It was asked by the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍𝙎. He asked to provide figures on how many Aboriginal staff in the agency are full-time and how many are casual. The numbers that I have in front of me is we have 97 full-time Aboriginal staff, 97 on ongoing, 12 for a fixed period, which is a total of 109. There's a total of 4 part-time, and there's 70 casual Aboriginal employees in the agency.
Thank you, Minister. And Minister, the floor is back to you for the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍𝙎's question.
And in regard to the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍𝙎, we're happy to take that question on notice.
So, through the Chair, through the chair, were there any planned urban housing redevelopments cancelled or deferred during the reporting period? And I'm talking about projects like the Shear Street development and the Westralia Street development, that kind of development, member for Minister for Housing?
Apologies, I was just getting advice on another matter.
I just read the question out for...
We accept the question.
Okay. Thank you, Minister. The question asked by the member for 𝙍𝙬 of the Minister has been allocated the number 7.12. Shadow Minister.
Thank you. Minister, do you have plans to sell any public housing?
The answer is no.
No. So, Minister, are you aware that the member for Karama put out a 4-point plan during the election which spoke about selling off public housing to first home buyers?
I'm aware that the member for Karama has advocated for a number of things in his electorate, and I commend him for the work that he does in his electorate. He's always out and about looking, listening and learning about his electorate, and he's been a strong advocate for a number of things, but the short answer to the question is that we have no immediate plans to sell any public housing.
No. And is the department doing work around drug dealing houses, and you're out?
Member for 𝙍𝙬, as you might be aware, but drug dealing in houses is a criminal offence.
Yep.
Drug dealing is a criminal
Yep.
offence.
But usually, member for or minister, there's a sign put out the front to notify you're not automatically kicked out.
Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by a sign being automatically put out in front of houses. Perhaps give me a bit more information.
What I will do is, through the chair, I'll table this so that it's on the record and you can see whether the department's meeting the commitments made by the member for Karama.
Well, I think you can table what you want. But,
okay. Well, I'll seek leave to table it.
Can you ask me the question that you started asking? You backtracked for some reason.
No, I didn't
I'm
backtrack
happy
at all.
to answer the question if you restate the question.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to wait. I'm going to see what the member for 𝙍𝙬 is tabling first. Member for 𝙍𝙬.
I'm happy to table this.
Thank you.
And then my question, Minister, was around the member for Karama made commitments. If you use your house as a drug dealing house, you're out. What's the process in the department? Because in some circumstances, police or so forth would usually put a sign on the house.
So, look, when it comes to drug dealing, as I said before, drug dealing is a criminal offence, and certainly from my perspective, we don't want to see drug dealing in any community, let alone from a public house.
No, absolutely not.
And, whether you're talking about signs out the front or I'm sure there's legislation that the police apply when it comes to arresting, charging or a drug dealer being convicted in court where there may well be a sign placed at the front of any residence. I'm not personally aware of any of those at the moment, but what I would say is that if a person has been drug dealing from their house and the police have investigated that and the person has been to had their day in court, so to speak, and been convicted of that type of offence, we would certainly want to know about that, because we expect our tenants, all public housing tenants, to provide a certain level of responsibility in a public house.
So, Minister, I absolutely support you around the comments you're making around drug dealing. The member for Karama has made some very specific commitments. Is the department meeting those commitments?
What I would say again is that the member for Karama is a very strong advocate for his electorate. He's made a number of commitments to the people in his electorate. At the moment, I've been out to public forums with the member for Karama, and in fact, I've heard from people the concerns that they have around some of the antisocial behaviour, not only in public housing, but some houses that are managed by community housing providers as well. So
That is very important, Minister, but are you meeting those commitments?
So listening to...
Through the Chair, point of order.
Okay.
listening...
Sorry, Minister. Okay, Member for Guyula, thank you for the correction of how to interject. What is your interjection?
Again, through the Chair to the Minister, you're giving me a broad statement. It's a yes or no answer. Is the department meeting the commitments made by the member for Karama?
Okay, before Minister, I will state we are not here to tell any minister how they are to respond. Minister, you have the floor.
So thank you for your commentary, Member for 𝙍𝙬𝙍, about whether it should be a yes or no answer. You can have your opinion, I'll have mine, but look, we're in constant contact with all members of Parliament, and I listen to all members of Parliament about their concerns.
Okay, committee, Minister, please. We have about 17 minutes on what I think is one of... Doesn't matter what I think, it's an important issue.
Thank you, Chair. Can I agree? Seeing it's got 17 minutes, can I ask some questions? Just.
I'm still trying to answer the...
I know. I appreciate. I've got your answer. If everyone else has got it.
Got your answer.
Okay.
No, I haven't finished my answer, Mr. Chair.
Minister, you have the floor, and then I will give to the member for Nightcliff. And I know member for Karama also has a question to ask. Minister.
So yes, I do listen to all members of Parliament. The member for Karama has expressed many concerns from his electorate, and we're listening to the member for Karama. We're revising all of our policy at the moment regarding antisocial behaviour in public housing, and we're looking at how best to tackle those issues. Thank you.
Member for Nightcliff.
Thank you very much. Minister, how many Territorians are currently on the public housing wait list?
Just give me a second, we'll get that for you. Thank you, Member for Nightcliff, for that question. As at the 31st of March 2025, there were 5,439 applications on the urban public housing waitlist, and 40% of those were for priority housing. In regard to the ongoing demand in remote areas across the Northern Territory, we have as at the reporting period of 31 March, we have 3,619 applications for remote public housing across the Northern Territory. There's also a further 275 current tenants on the transfer wait list.
Sorry. Do those numbers include children? Or would they be the adult applicants, and then there could be many more children that are included?
Those numbers relate to actual applications. Yeah,
gotcha.
so it doesn't specifically indicate the number of children that may be with that family. It's just a wait list application.
Thank you.
So many of those may involve a family. So.
Yeah, thank you. And so what is the average wait time for these applications for an individual or a family to be allocated to public housing? I'll just start off with Darwin, urban Darwin area.
We're just getting that information for you, Member for Nightcliff.
Thank you.
So Member for Nightcliff, I'll just give you firstly the estimated urban public housing wait times as at the 31st of March 2025. So in regard to Darwin and Casuarina, for a one-bedroom home, 8 to 10 years. A two-bedroom home is 6 to 8 years, and a three-bedroom plus home is the wait time is 8 to 10 years. These are the general wait times. When it comes to Palmerston, 8 to 10 years for one bedroom, 4 to 6 years for two bedroom, and 4 to 6 for three bedrooms and above. In Katherine, there's a wait time of 8 to 10 years for a one bedroom home, 6 to 8 years for a two bedroom home, 8 to 10 years for a three bedroom plus home in Katherine. In Nhulunbuy, the wait time is 8 to 10 years for a one bedroom home. A two bedroom home is also 8 to 10 years, and in Nhulunbuy, a three bedroom and above home is also 8 to 10 years. In Tennant Creek, member for Nightcliff, the wait time for a one bedroom home is 8 to 10 years. For a two bedroom home, the wait time is 6 to 8 years. For a three bedroom and above home, it's 6 to 8 years in Tennant Creek. In Alice Springs, the wait time for one bedroom is 8 to 10 years. A two bedroom home in Alice Springs is 8 to 10 years wait list. And for a three bedroom or above home in Alice Springs, the wait time is also 8 to 10 years.
Thank you very much for that, Minister. So, I mean, those numbers are pretty staggering. So people having to wait, looks like on average really 8 to 10. During this time, they're quite possibly having to sleep on the street or in temporary or unstable housing. Yet the CLP government didn't think it was necessary to allocate any additional funding. In fact, you decided not to supplement the expired Commonwealth funding. Is that right?
Which expired Commonwealth funding are you talking about?
Well, what I might say then is, I'll change my question. What is the government doing to urgently address these wait times?
Look, what I'd like to talk about is these wait lists are clearly out of control, and the wait times for a family or an individual to take up housing in the Northern Territory is clearly unacceptable. But what I would say about that is that last year the Territory Government of the day did sign a $4 billion agreement with the federal government, and that's a combined agreement between the Northern Territory and the Commonwealth to deliver 2,700 houses across the Northern Territory over the next 10 years. What I would say about that is that, in my initial opinion, if we're going to make any headway in regard to those wait times of anywhere up to 8 to 10 years, it's going to be a real big challenge for the Northern Territory. What we do need to do when it comes to housing, we need to be constantly advocating with the Commonwealth Government for additional funding to put towards housing right across the Northern Territory. We've said many times that the revenue that goes into our budget is around about 70% of Commonwealth funding. I don't think there's anyone here that would disagree. $4 billion over the next 10 years clearly isn't going to make the difference that we would hope.
My next question would be, and I mean, with these numbers, it's even more shocking that you would have members of your party advocating to sell off public housing in a public housing crisis. But I would ask, can I ask this?
Is that a comment or a question?
It's a comment, but I'll move on to a question. I might actually just put this on notice. I've got the next one, but it's going to involve stats, and I'm aware of time. Could I put this on notice? I'd just like to know.
If you ask the question, we'll let you know whether we've got the information.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We may be able to answer it, or we might need it on notice.
I would like to know how many new public housing buildings or houses are planned to be completed in the 2025-26 year, or started, or both those numbers. How many are going to be completed, and how many new houses are going to be started being built?
Well, I think I've previously answered the question in regard to remote housing. Is this does this include remote housing, which
Yeah.
I've previously answered, or would you like other
Well,
statistics?
I thought the number that you
regarding-
gave before was in the long-term projection over the
Well, I
course
think I
of your
gave
government.
answered the member for 𝙍𝙬𝙎𝙎 and indicated that I think we had delivered 216 houses. I gave a number of how many houses had been delivered under the remote program.
61.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, in terms, I'll
Go
change it then to
committee
urban.
Member for Nightcliff, please.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll just alter my question.
Thank you.
Urban then. How many new urban houses are planned to be either, hopefully some will be completed, or how many are on track to start getting built?
Yeah, thank you, Member for Nightcliff. I'll ask the Deputy Chief Executive. He's got a breakdown of the program, so we can provide that answer to you now. So thank you.
Thanks, Minister. Thanks, Member for Nightcliff. In relation to your question about new construction in the urban space, we've got a number of programs that are underway. So the Social Housing Accelerator Payment, which the Minister touched on in his opening speech, that's a Commonwealth-supported urban social housing plan where we're working in partnership with community housing providers who are being funded to deliver up to 25 new dwellings, and working with our partners at DLI who are being funded to deliver up to 75 new dwellings. We also have a partnership with the Commonwealth in relation to the Housing Australia Future Fund Round 2, and we're engaging in that process by providing serviced land that can be provided to community housing providers who then bid for Commonwealth funding. I'm aware that there's 102 dwellings that are going to be delivered under that program using NT government land and delivered by community housing providers. And then the third major line item is the Barkly Regional Deal. The NT government, in partnership with the Commonwealth, funded approximately 1.9 million to Venture Housing, who then obtained further lending from Housing Australia to deliver 12 new social and affordable housing dwellings in Tennant Creek.
Okay, thank you. Are any of them, because I'm just aware that we often hear from governments, well, we've got programs that's coming, we're putting money into it. Are any of those programs you just mentioned, like will shovels hit the dirt this year? Will any of those new homes be started to be constructed? I want to know like a timeline, because people are desperate.
Yeah, thank you for the question. There is work underway, Member for Nightcliff, but I'll ask the Deputy Chief Executive just to expand on the answer that he's given, because under that program there is work happening, and we can provide some detail around that.
In the interest of time, could I get that detail on notice? I'm just aware that we've only got 5 minutes
No, we're
left.
happy to provide the answer.
Yeah,
now,
but I've also
so.
got a lot of other questions, Chair, through the Chair.
Well, any further?
So,
there's always the written
apology, Minister, please. If it is up to the Minister to decide, I'll hand over to the Minister. It is up to you, noting we have 5 minutes.
Look, we do have the written question process. There's always an opportunity to put questions forward to the government.
but the responses-
What we want to do is make sure that we address this question properly today. It is important for listeners out there to hear this important work that's going on right here in the Territory today. Thank you. I'll ask the Deputy Chief Executive to explain further.
Thanks, Minister. Thanks, Member for Nightcliff. I'll provide a bit more detail about those programs. In relation to the Social Housing Accelerator Payment, most recently in May 2025, working with the Department of Logistics and Infrastructure, they've awarded a contract to construct 8 more dwellings in the northern suburbs. Construction of another package of 8 dwellings is anticipated for completion in June 2025. They'll be going out to market for 14 more packages of work during the course of this year. In relation to the Housing Australia Future Fund Round 2, we have advised the relevant community housing providers that we've supported their request for land, and I understand that the Commonwealth has concurred with that in order to allow them to start building they have to deliver over a number of years, Member for Nightcliff. And then lastly, the Barkly Regional Deal. Most recently, Venture Housing delivered their houses earlier this year, and the Minister might recall he went down and visited those after they were finished.
Thank you very much. I've got another question.
Yeah, sorry, Member for Nightcliff. I've got 3 other people banked up with a question. So,
With Dorothy Dix's, though.
well, Member for Nightcliff, I'll give...
Don't they have the opportunity to ask their own government members that any other time?
Okay,
A genuine question. Don't they have the time
Member
to do
for
that?
Nightcliff, we're just wasting time.
Yeah, I've
Member
got
for
20.
Kramer notified in the morning that he would like to ask a question
He could
today.
ask any other
So it'll be Member for Karama, then it'll be Member for Mulcair. If there's time, it'll be Member for Blaine.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, just for clarification, with the document that's been tabled in my name, I absolutely stand by it. But let me get this right. I developed that document and circulated it over 3 years ago when I was a councillor into my community because I was responding to the needs of my community.
Thank you.
Who found their community being destroyed. I'm all for public housing, but I don't accept public housing.
Relevance.
Thank you. Is there a question for the Minister?
Yeah. So I just want it on record that it is not government policy, but I will continue to advocate for this as a personal representative of my community.
Yeah, thank you.
The big issue I want to know, and there's a number of them, we get complaints, residents say they go and make a report to housing complaints and then often told, no, you need to go to police or no, you need to go to someone else about this. Can you tell us, is there a one-stop shop approach that we're looking to develop to handle complaints so that residents aren't shuffled from one agency to another?
Thank you, Member for Kramer. And this has been since coming to government, it's been one of the concerns that has been raised with me. What we have seen over a number of years now is that there has been tenants that have been keen to report antisocial behaviour, breaches of tenancy agreement, disturbances in and around public housing. There has been this process in place where on different occasions some of those tenants or some of those neighbours, I should say, have been asked to call police. Some have been asked to call a 1-800 number within the department to report that matter. And there's often been this shuffling of people to different responses. What we are trying to do at the moment is to have one number to report antisocial behaviour or disturbances in those public houses. When it comes to non-urgent things, I don't have an issue with reports being made to the department, but the reality is that when there is disturbances happening in and around public housing, my advice has always been the same, that the reporting person should report that to the police.
Thank you, Minister. I'm going to extend time for one further question from the Member for Mulcair.
I do have some questions on notice that I can respond to as well.
Yeah, we'll get to the Member for Mulcair's question and then I'll take on notice.
Thank you, Chair. To the Minister, is there flexibility in the local government model? Because we would like to be properly consulted. In East Arnhem Land, we talk about village councils, but we don't want these to be controlled by a CEO from outside our communities. We want to have representatives from all clan groups, and we don't want to be involved in Balanda voting system because voting is not part of our governance system. Basically, I'm saying I'm saying we don't want to a simulated system. We want to have our governance system connected to our self-determination and decision making. So I am asking if the local governance vision of the government is flexible enough for different models in different communities and something that reflects that what we want to see. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Member for Mulca, and that's I really appreciate you sharing that with me because, as I've previously said, when it comes to governance in communities, there is no one-size-fits-all approach. What we are happy to do is to not only engage with you as the local member, but we will come out and consult and engage with communities. What we want to do is make sure that we have the governance structure right, and if that involves the description that you've just presented, ensuring that there's cultural representation in those communities and good governance structures in place, there is no one-size-fits-all, and we're quite happy to come out and talk to you about that, because what we want to do is make sure that communities are empowered and can make decisions in their communities in the best interests of their communities. We want to make sure that we have a long-term sustainable model moving forward, and that's why we're not rushing into this overnight, Member for Mulca. This will take time, but we're happy to come out and discuss these very issues with you and representatives from your communities.
Thank you, and thank you, Minister. That concludes today's hearings. I'd like to thank all the staff behind the work today, and I'd like to give a special thank you to the staff in NT Home Ownership and Aboriginal Affairs for the body of work they would have done in preparing and did not have the opportunity to present. So a sincere thank you to them. I also, as I like to do at the end of the time, so question time went for 310 minutes. Government members spoke for 8 minutes, which accounted for 2.5%, which I think is our record. So well done. And I will also, just for all committee members, we will have a committee meeting in the Ormiston room. Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. At the conclusion of this, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I do want to thank all of the staff here today that have put in many, many hours to prepare for today's estimates, not only in this department, but certainly there's members of the Department of the Chief Minister and Cabinet that were prepared to come along and answer questions in regards to my Aboriginal Affairs portfolio. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to get the opportunity to speak today, but I do want to thank all of those departments, all of the staff involved for the incredible work that they've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. The committee will now go to the Ormiston room and we will resume questions at 3:30 p.m. with the Minister for Trade, Business and Asian Relations adjourned.